Yo! When last we left our heroes, they had just decided and agreed upon having a 1 month trial period for their band. That brings us to our next chapter, Sir. It's just the entry sheet that they put up and wrote together to enter in the Remoer rock competition. So it's a picture of all of them biting into a lemon, pulling a face, and it's like, yeah, kind of faces. And then a couple of facts about them. Their age, their hobbies, and 5 words that describe them, their most valuable possession, and a sentence that they have to finish. I'd recommend that you go and read through it. Just skim quickly. It's page 43 to 46. The next chapter sees the main characters rehearsing in Tian's garage. Bongi counts them in and they start playing. Although Tian finds the way that they met up pretty strange, he doesn't care to admit that they are actually pretty good sounding. At the end of the practice, Liesel says that she has to go, and Zane offers to take her home. Very classy of you, Zane. Despite the fact that Zane lives in a completely different direction to Liesel, Tian goes and points out that they live in about the same direction as Cape Town is to Joburg. So, very completely different directions. Bongi calls Zane a Casanova, and Tian jumps to his defense, saying that the girls actually mess more with his head than he messes with the girls. Kind of like how he always accidentally is getting into trouble. He's always accidentally falling in love. In the next chapter, Song, appropriately named, Tian is trying to write a song. Shocker. He is looking at things all around him, trying to think of some form of inspiration from his room. He's got dirty socks, Katy Perry, which he has a poster of on his wall, and stuff of that kind of vein. Eventually he gives up on that and tries to think of words that could have to do with Sir, because the band's name is Suurlemoen. He eventually runs out of ideas for that as well. Some of his ideas were Sir gat, Sir gesig, all that kind of stuff, but none of it was working for him. Then the chapter takes a turn when his mom walks in. She says Tian in such a tone that he can tell something's wrong. Tian is not allowed to use his garage for rehearsals anymore. He has to find another place. He breaks this news to the people in the band. They all kind of sad about it, and then they split up their ways. Zane comes to tell Tian that he has now asked Liesel out on a date. She said that she couldn't come because she had to go do some other stuff, but at least she didn't say no. That's something, isn't it? Poor old Zane. Just a side note, the reason Tian isn't allowed to use the garage anymore is because he gave the neighbor's dogs a nervous breakdown. In the next chapter, we are introduced to the school radio station. It's run by the 2 biggest nerds in grade 11. They call themselves Psycho Bob and Willem. They play songs that have been requested by anyone in the school. At the moment, they're busy with once again, another repeat of another song that they've been requested over and over and over again. While listening to the song, Bongi comes to Zane and Tian and tells them that she has found a place for them to rehearse. But there's a catch. It's the old orchestra room, the place where Zane and Tian wanted to hold their auditions originally. The catch is that they have to clean it up first and repaint the walls. But then they should be able to rehearse, and it's pretty soundproof, so it's a pretty good place, actually. Page 56 and 57 is just a bunch of visual chaos. So you can just go look at it in your own book, and, I think it's Tian trying to write a song and struggling again. When they get to cleaning their orchestra room, they realize that it is very dirty. The school is about 75 years old. The orchestra looks like it hasn't been cleaned in all of those 75 years. They've got a big job ahead of them. While busy cleaning, they find a record player with a couple of records. One of the records is Elvis. They start playing it, and Zane starts dancing to it, doing a pretty brilliant Elvis impersonation. This gets Liesel laughing. Then it's Tian and Liesel's turn, and they do the song, I Got You Babe. This is pretty heavily setting up the love triangle between Zane, Liesel, and Tian later on. In the chapter Mol, it goes about how Zane is still crazy about Liesel, and how, even though they've been in class for 2 years, how has he never noticed her? He's going on this tangent to Tian, of course. Poor Tian. In the end, Tian's advice that he gives to Zane is to just be himself. The characters have just finished painting the orchestra room. They're all very satisfied with their day's work and are just about to go and take a break when they start flinging paint at each other. These are all called the boys arme babies, poor babies, or dirhams or shaimpies, kind of like patronizing vibe, but in a friendly, cartoonish manner, of course. Then Bunga reveals that she has brought sandwiches and lemonade for everyone. This gets him thinking and they start exchanging song ideas. Tian pulls out all of his post-it stickers, which he found stupid, and everyone else seems impressed. Eventually they make the decision to go with a song about lemonade, although Tian feels a bit stupid about suggesting it at first. It was his suggestion. But they go and they write the song, and it actually goes pretty well. The next chapter is the song Make Lemonade, and the idea of my heart is a lemon, and you're the sugar, so let's make lemonade together. When Zane gets home, his mother interrogates him as if he's been out all day doing drugs, or that's how he describes it to Tian, of course. His mom giggles and tells him that his food's in the oven, they've already eaten. Tian says he's first going to go and take a shower first, so he goes and does that. While he's showering and having the tune to Make Lemonade, he starts feeling sad for some reason. No reason in particular, just sad. He goes through all of the comedic symptoms, like maybe it's because he's been rehearsing all day with paint fumes in his mouth, or maybe it's the offer of warmed up food for dinner, but for some reason he's just feeling sad. When he gets out, he goes and cleans up and looks at himself in the mirror and asks himself, maybe it's time I get a girlfriend now. The next chapter, Tian has a nightmare where his face is plastered in a newspaper and it says, desperately looking for a girlfriend. Needs to look like Katy Perry and be between the ages of 15 and 25. In the chapter called Chrome Bunny, Tian and Zane appropriately find out about Mr. Marx's old band that was called Chrome Bunny. Zane's mom used to be a huge fan of them back in the day, but they only put out one plate called 7 Singles. Ironically enough, it only had 2 songs on it. Mr. Marx, known as Alistair Marx on the electric guitar, was, of course, a member of the band on the electric guitar. Nobody actually knows what happened to Chrome Bunny afterwards, but they never, they were in the newspaper at the time, but they never made another plate. And just like that, we are prepared for another test. Yay! Don't use this as your only study material, please, because otherwise I'll feel responsible if I missed out on something important. So do go read through the book again and maybe look at some questions and other summaries. Don't use me as your only source. Good luck, cheers, au revoir, see you at school, or not, or otherwise. Cheers.